All right, welcome to this video. In the previous video, we spoke about the paint bucket tool, and we also spoke about the gradient tool. In this video, we're going to talk about some tools that are very essential when you are photo retouching, especially for photographers. You really need this a lot, right? And also, if you want to do photo manipulations, you would really need this, right? Now this tool we're talking about here, this set of tools, they're very important. Now, I'd like to delete all the other layers we have here first. Let's hit the delete button, then we'll duplicate the background layer. Good, in order to work with these tools. So these tools are very similar in action, right? Now, the first tool we're going to look at here is the blur tool. Directly below the gradient tool, you have them. You have the blur tool. The blur tool is the first tool we're going to look at. So blur tool, like the name goes, what it does is just to blur out. No long stories, nothing. Very simple. It blurs out your work, right? So now it also has a brush size. The brush size here is 12. Let's increase it to say 100 pixels. Okay, that's still small. Let's increase it to 500 pixels. Good. Now this is good enough. Okay. Now on the property menu, you can see a strength of 50%. Good. So now let's just shade over it. Let's just shade over our work. Just shade over our work. Let's shade over our work. Okay. I know as I'm doing this now, you're not noticing any difference, right? You're not noticing anything. It seems like, oh, what are we even doing? Right? So what are we doing? You're not seeing any big difference. Okay. Okay. So just hold on a little. I'll show you how this tool works. So you may not be able to appreciate this tool very well until I get to show you at a closer range. So now let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Okay. Good. So let's zoom in again. Okay. Good. Now this is what the picture looked like before. Now this is it now. Are you noticing any difference? Are you noticing any difference? Let me zoom in again so you see clearly. This is what it looks like before. This is the original image, and here's what it looks like now. Original image, here's what it looks like now. Original image, here's what it looks like now. So if I increase the strength of the blur tool, now watch how this works. So we've increased the strength right now. Okay, we increase the strength. Okay, this is also very important in photo retouching. It makes faces look smooth. Okay, when you use blur tool to blur out all the pores, it makes the face look very smooth. Okay, so that's what a lot of photographers use. They blur out the pores. Okay, they blur out the pores. So now let's see before, after. Is it before, after, before, after, before, after? Right, so that's the blur tool. Okay, you could also make it hard, a hard brush. Okay, a very hard brush. You can see that's how it works. Okay, still same thing, before, after. Right, so let's rename that layer blur. Would close it and still duplicate the background layer. Okay, now the next tool we're going to look at is the sharpen tool. Just like the blur tool, it has exactly the same property menu as the blur tool. Okay, also let's increase the size of the sharpen tool to 500 pixels. Okay, now most of these things you may not really see them as we are working on them, but when we zoom in you see it clearly. So let's just use the sharpen tool here. Okay, we just move the sharpen tool over the face of our model. Let's just move the sharpen tool over. What it does is, like the name goes, sharpen. It makes your image sharper, although there's a level to which you use the sharpen tool that it becomes Very, very unreal. All right, good. So now we've used the sharpen tool. Let's zoom in so we'll be able to see what just happened. If you can see, she sort of looks a little sweaty. It had made the pixels sharp, too sharp, right? So this is the after, before, after. So you have to be careful when you use the sharpen tool because it will make your image look very unreal. Okay, so let's nickname that sharpen. We'll name that layer sharpen, then we'll duplicate the new layer and turn off the visibility of the sharpen layer. Then we'll go over to the smooth tool. Also, as you can see, the smooth tool basically has the same property bar as your blur tool and your sharpen tool. So let's reduce this to say 50 pixels. Okay, now I want you to see this. Just watch, take a look at what's going on here. Smooth is like as if you're using your hand to move over. After drawing, you just use your hand there. Sometimes at the edges, like you're using your hand to just spread the edges of it. So basically what it does is it's works on edges particularly, right? It more or less, like, should I say, scatters, right? Smooch, like you're using your hand to push. Okay, so that's smooth. Okay, that's smooth. So let's name that layer smooth. Let's smooth layer. Then let's duplicate that background layer, turn off the visibility of our smooth layer. Okay, and then we'll go on to the next set of tools. The next set of tools are located right below the blur set of tools, and it's called the dodge tool. Right, so you have the dodge tool, you have the burn tool, and you have the sponge tool. So now your dodge tool, what your dodge tool does is it brightens your image. Okay, so let's increase the size of our brush to 500 pixels. Okay, watch your dodge tool right now. You see, your dodge tool brightens your image. Okay, so you can see this is photographers love this a lot. Okay, you could see what your dodge tool is doing to this girl's face, making her look too good, too good. So your dodge tool brightens your image. Okay, making her look a lot fairer. So good. So this is your dodge tool, right? Your dodge tool has made the effect on her already. So you see she's looking fairer. Let's click. Can you see that? She's looking like Team Light Skin right now. Team Light Skin, you can see. So that's how a lot of dark girls are made fair in Photoshop. You know, that's the magic of Photoshop. So I just showed you that now, how you make dark girls fair in Photoshop. You make use of your dot tool and just brush over it. Okay, good. If you increase the exposure also of your dot tool, you could get a you would get a much bigger, you see that, increase the exposure, you get a much larger, um a much stronger strength to work with. All right, you can see you have your lady fast becoming an albino. you know and that's how you create albinos in Photoshop. You see that girl, make her an albino in Photoshop. So that is one of the nice things that people use Photoshop for. Okay, right, so let's just, now to make it uniform, let's just run it across the rest of our skin. So you just click and drag for your dot tool, you just click and drag, just click and drag for your dot tool. Okay, just click and drag. Okay, all right, so that's that about your dot tool. The next set of tools we're going to be looking at is the bond tool. Okay, now the bond tool, basically the same thing, just that what the bond tool does the direct opposite of what your dodge tool does. So let's make our brush size 500 pixels. All right, turn off the visibility of your dodge tool, duplicate the background layer, name this bond. Okay, that's your bond tool. Right, so now let's burn her face. Let's burn this our model. Right, you could see she's getting darker. You can see she's getting darker. Right, she's getting darker. Our one time albino model is now becoming an ebony model. Okay, so you could see, and you could just use the bond tool as you like. Okay, but you have to be careful and ensure that what you're doing looks real. Okay, aside faces and all of that, you could use the bond tool also for photo manipulations, for some pictures. It doesn't have to be human faces you use the bond tool for. We use the bond tool for a whole lot of other things. Okay, so this is just, I'm just showing you a rough work. It's just a quick this thing in 2 seconds. I'm just trying to, I don't want to spend so much time on this. Let's increase it to say 1000. I don't want to spend so much time on this. Okay, so this is the bond. So let's go all ahead and, you know, play around. All right, she's getting pretty dark. Okay, so that is the bond tool for you. That's how you use your bond tool. You have to know how to use your bond tool. Okay, so that's the bond tool for you. We have ended up burning our entire model. We have burned her entirely. Okay, now this is just to show you. Now, I would make these smaller brushes, paint on all these other sides, but this is just to show you that these things can be done and are done in Photoshop, and they are not a big task. It's something you can do, something you can do. Okay, so let me save this. Let's save it as dark lady. Dark lady. Okay, good. So bond to good. So then what we're also going to do, sponge. The next tool we're looking at is the sponge tool. So duplicate your background layer like we've been doing since, and name it sponge tool. Then you go over to increase your brush size. Like, let's make our brush size 1000. Right, good. Now let's move our sponge tool over. You see, there's something about your sponge tool that I want you to note, right? That makes it a little different from all the other tools. Now, if you come here, you see mode, right? This mode, once it's on desaturate, what that means is it's going to remove the color from the image. Now, the flow here says 50%, right? Let's bump the flow up to 100%. Let's increase our brush size to 1500 pixels. Okay, and then just watch what happens with your sponge tool. You see, it's taking the color out, more or less turning the image to black and white. It's turning the image to black and white. That's what your sponge tool does. Turns your image to black and white. Okay, that's what your sponge tool does. It's a black and white something. So you keep, the more you keep um moving over it, the more it keeps removing the color, or what we call desaturating it, right? Keeps removing the color. Okay, now if you change the mode here to saturate, what it does is it adds back the color. Saturate increases the color on your work. Okay, saturate increases the color on your work. Now I'd like, So you can see the parts that it has those colors, right? You can see that it has the parts where I didn't really erase the colors. You can see that it's bringing the colors back. Okay, that's what mode saturate does. It increases the color on that area, makes it very, very bright. You can see she's looking like a cyborg, like there's some fire coming out from her face or something, right? Although this is, you can see the picture is beginning to look very, very different. Although, okay, I'll call this sponge tool, I'll call it sponge desaturate. So now let's see what sponge saturate is like. This sponge saturate here, let's watch. You see, when we add in, when we use the saturate mode, when we use saturate mode here, it makes it a lot brighter. Now these are tools that photographers cannot do without. This is why they always stick to Photoshop. They cannot do without these tools that Photoshop has. Okay, you could see how she's, the color, the whole picture is popping. Okay, everything is popping because of your sponge tool and the saturate option. You could mess around with the flow, just play around and ensure that you get this. Okay, so I'd call this sponge saturate. Okay, good. So I want us to just quickly go over it again from beginning. This is your blur, this is sharpen, this is smooth, this is dodge, makes it brighter, sharpen makes it brighter, dodge makes it lighter. Okay, this is burn, it makes it darker. This is your sponge desaturates, it removes the color and turns it to black and white. This is your sponge saturates, it increases the color or more or less increases the contrast. This is your original picture. All right, thank you very much for staying tuned on this video. See you in the very next video where I talk about one very important tool. Also, it is the pen tool, and we're about wrapping up the tools panel of Photoshop, and then we can get into real work. Okay, so see you in the next video. Thank you.